Ben Sarah Yosef Sheva Aliyah Neshama. When is your time? Today? Wow. Okay. Sheva Neshama. Okay, Rabotai. So this week's parasha Matot, we talked about Saror et Midyanim v'kitem otam. Go take battle with the Midyanim and destroy them. And then when they got back from battle, Elazar HaKohen said, Zot Hukat Torah. This is the law of the Torah. What is the end? Dipping dishes. You have to dip dishes. Just like para aduma, Zot Hukat Torah. Same thing for the dishes. Zot Hukat Torah. Anything you have from a non-Jew that you buy, you have to dip in the dish. Besides for koshering it. Koshering is completely different, right? So if you have a pot that comes from a non-Jew, you have to do hagala, you have to do whatever it is, boil the pot in another water. That's for the kosher reasons. You also have to dip it. I think we have the guy in the front door. Dave, you want to get the front door? Okay, so here's the question for today. The question for today is, can I have, and this is a courtesy of my son. My son asked this question, so this is share with everybody. We bought some what do they call it? Like hydro flasks, like big steel drinking thermoses, and so it has to go to the mikveh. So his question is, like a thermos, like a what are they? Like a Stanley or whatever they're using now. The big no, like to drink from it, like a hydro flask or like a big thermos, steel. You drink from it, like a big, huge metal water bottle. Like people carry instead of yeah. With like a little. Exactly, like a. From Amazon and you forget it. Yeah. Costco had a good deal, so we bought like. So they make glass one with the plastic covering for isolation. Yeah. I have to plug the glass also, but it breaks. So the question is this: my son Joey, he asked me. He says, so he got one. He picked the color he wants. He wants to use it. I said, we have to dip it in the mikveh. Of course, we bought it from Costco. We have to dip it in the mikveh. So the mikveh is next door. We have a mikveh next door. So he says, can I dip my own thermos in the mikveh? He's not bar mitzvah. So is a minor allowed to dip the dish in the mikveh? Does it work if a minor dips it in the mikveh? So really, if very good. In other words, called the chefsa or the gavra. So the question is basically, is the obligation to dip a dish? Is it that the dip needs to be dished? The dish needs to be dipped. Is that it? So, like for example, if there was a storm and the dish flew into the mikveh and flew back out, or a monkey takes it and dips it, is it kosher? However it happened, the dish is dipped, or does a bar mitzvah or a bat mitzvah person have to do it? That's the question. So it's a good question. And so to answer the question, we just have to go over very, very quickly the basics of the laws of dishes. So it's a question whether dipping dishes is from the Torah or from Hachamim, Midrabanan. Even though it says, Elazar HaKohen says in the Torah, in Parashat the dip, it's a mahloket whether this halacha is mideoraita or midrabanan. According to Maran Bet Yosef, it seems it's mideoraita, and which is like that's the way we're gonna go. Dipping dishes is going to be a mitzvah from the Torah. However, only metal dishes is a mitzvah from the Torah. What has to be dipped? Does plastic have to be dipped? No, plastic doesn't have to be. Does wood have to be dipped? No. Metal has to be dipped. No, I'm okay. I'll have when I get home. Thank you. Come on down. Does metal has to be dipped midoraita? Yes. Does glass have to be dipped? Midrabana. Really, glass doesn't from the Torah, but we're going to be strict and we require glass to be dipped from the rabbis. If you dip glass, you don't make a beracha. If you dip metal, you make a beracha because glass is only midrabana. It's strict. Okay? And so Chacham he's going to answer the question here, but to preface him, there's a discussion about what could you. So again, is it the dish has to be dipped? That's an item halacha. Does the person have to do it? Or is there actually a third variable? The third variable is maybe it's okay if a child dips the dishes. The question is, can we believe him that he did it? It's a question of ne'emanut. How do we know he did it? That's the question. When my son comes to me and says, okay, Dad, I dipped all the dishes. Very good. How do I know it's true? Because a child can't tell me testimony. How am I supposed to believe the edut of a child? And so that's where the whole question in this halacha morphs. We even if he did it properly, how do I know he did it? Yeah. Yeah. How do you know he did? Yeah. Even if he knows this guy can know he can know all the halachot, but how do I know? I can't believe him what he says. And so they bring a couple of different examples. I'll bring just one example here, and then we'll get the final halacha. The halacha is if your son comes to you, you're busy, and so you say, I don't have time to check for the hametz this year. I'm working, so I want to put my son to do it, my minor. So the minor comes to you and he says, Dad, I checked the house for Pesach, for hametz. It's perfectly good to go. I did the kahamina. The question is, can you believe the son? And so the Hacham that brings the poskim that say, yeah, you can believe him. You could believe him. You could believe him that he did something. And hametz is mideoraita even. If there's hametz, it's isu deoraita. So you can believe him even about something from the Torah. And then they answer back, well, but the bidika is not from the Torah. The bidika is only from the Rabbanan. The isu hametz is not to own hametz, but to check for hametz is only a rabbinic question, a rabbinic halacha. So maybe we could believe it's a child for a rabbinic thing, but not for a biblical thing. And then they come back and they say, yeah, but maybe the problem is that there's a hazakah. Maybe a child can be believed when there's no hazakah. For example, in the case of dipping dishes, there's a hazakah. When I bought it from the non-Jew, by the way, dipping dishes is only required when you bought it from a non-Jew. If you bought it from a Jew, you don't have to dip it. No. China has to be dipped. Not talking about, again, let me rephrase what I just said. Dipping the dish has to be when it exited the premise, the authority of a non-Jew, and it entered your authority, but middlemen retail stores don't count. When a Cambridge buys it from China, it's a question if it's made in Israel, can you go by the majority? It's a big question. It would be a safek. Maybe you say safek deoraita, the humra, metal. Maybe you say safek de rabbanan, the kula for glass. But if it comes middle, stores don't count. It just goes by the original creator. Yeah, it's not for cleanliness. You're gonna have to wash it with a lot of soap after. It's just it's a hook. It's a hook. This week's parasha. It's a hook. Zot hukata Torah. It's a hook. Yeah, so you gotta go take it. It's very dirty. By the way, that one is much cleaner than that one. Oh yeah. That one is much. Shaarey said it is much cleaner. Take your stuff there and go do it. Yeah, even if it's years later, you have to dip it. It has to be dipped. Yeah. Okay, so now says Hakam Vadia. I'm going to read you the halakha. Shulchan Aruch. Does Manan talk about this? Says Manan Shulchan Aruch. In ma'aminim katan al tevilat kelim. You see the word Moshe. In ma'aminim katan. We can't trust him that he did it. Maran Shulchan Aruch. We can't trust the katan that he did it. Says the Gra, the Gaon and Riyal Vilna on the bottom. Why can't we believe a minor? My son is a very smart boy. He knows a lot of things. Why can't I believe him that he did it? Says the Gra, the tefilat kelim de oraita, because we hold it's from the Torah. And any time you have a safek de oraita, it's the humra. Oh, so what about glass? Glass is the Rabbanan. If it's because I can't believe him because it's a deoraita according to the Gra, then if it's glass, I should be able to believe him. Says Hakam Vadia, the Ben Ish Hai first. Says the Ben Ish Hai, Sarich le'atbil hakelim ha'idei Yisrael gadol ben Yud Gimel Shana Yom Echad. It has to be done by a adult Jew. Abal katan lo ne'eman afilu akeli zichrochit. Says the Ben Ish Hai. Even for glass, you cannot have the child do it. Hakam Vadia argues on this, and he says, katan afilu higia lechinuch. A child, even 11 years old, an old smart kid, you're not allowed to believe him that he dipped the metal dish. But what? Yes. Again, it's not a problem in the dipping. The dipping's kosher. It's a problem. How do we know he did it? So if I send my 12-year-old daughter with him and I say, just watch him, be mashkiach, you come back, you'll testify that he did it, it's kosher. The dipping of a minor is kosher. We just can't believe him that he did it. My question is, what if I have a video camera? Video camera, No, because there's a concept ed ehad ne'eman be'isurin. It's a special concept. And it ed ehad ne'eman be'isurin. You go to a woman's house, almana, and she says, "Here, take some majadra." How do I know it's kosher? You bring me two witnesses. No, ed ehad ne'eman be'isurin. One witness, doesn't matter who it is, man or woman, is believed. This is, if a person says this is kosher, you believe it. This is kosher. Isurin is this is all your isurin. Yeah. Ed ehad ne'eman be'is. No. No, not Yisurin. So all these Isurin, and so therefore says the Chavadia, if I have a older person watching the child, then it's kosher because I have it's interesting. So then it's kosher. You can believe the child that he did the glass all by himself. No one has to watch him. Says it's only rabbinic anyway. And that's the halakha l'maaseh. Metal has to be dipped by an adult or by a minor under the supervision of an adult. And glass can be dipped all by himself by the minor. Metal is from the Torah. That's it. Only metal from the Torah with a beracha. Any questions? It's a very interesting concept. We have a minyan? לעילוי נשמת שמואל בן שרה ויוסף. רבי חנן בן רשע אומר עשה הקדוש ברוך הוא זכור את ישראל לפיכך אתבע להם תורה מצווה שנאמר